Hello. The Creator Jam theme this week was Minecraft inspired stuff, and for my contribution, I wanted to do a procedural terrain generator, and I did not get anywhere near as far with it as intended, but I figured I'd show what I had so far. So, actually, the biggest part of this that I did today is a block spawner that does spawn rate limiting, so you can enqueue a few thousand blocks, but it will only spawn them out at this rate per second, so like 20 per second. And you can disable it and clear the queue of pending blocks and clear the generated blocks. So for example, the first thing I did is just random cubes. So I'll generate like 200. See, there's the queue, there's the generated count, and they are appearing at the designated rate. And if you decide to stop it before it's done, you can just hit clear queue. So that's the block rate limiter. And then the other thing I did was a little bit of work on terrain with the height based on simplex noise, just very simple. From my notes here, you can see I had a lot more that I had intended to do, like caves with purlin worms, and I wanted to do all the grass and water and sand and stuff too, but maybe a later day. Today I just have the height based on the simplex noise. So it's on 30 by 30 scale of 5 vertical. I'll turn off the fill, hit generate. There's the terrain coming in at a rate of 20 blocks per second, just to keep things under control a little bit here. Yeah, you can go in here and change the terrain size or the height offset of where it appears. So if I wanted it to show up underneath me and only do like 10 by 10, that's easy enough. It's down there. Let's change that back to 30 by 30 and up above us. Noise scale, so that's vertical scale is how high it goes, and noise scale horizontal is like how rough the terrain is. So if I set this vertical scale down to 1, you can see it's only going up or down by 1 block instead of 5. And if I change the horizontal scale down to like 10, that'll be a much rougher terrain because it has compacted the noise horizontally into a smaller area. But I think 30 horizontal, 5 vertical is a good default, and if you want the ground to be filled in, you hit this box. Now you can see it's filling in vertically. A little slower because the spawn rate limiter is still on 20 blocks a second. I can turn that up, hopefully without causing any issues, so 50 blocks a second instead. And the specified height of, 3, is obviously not quite enough because the lower spots are coming below the flat bottom of the terrain, but that's okay. So this makes a reasonably, like a hilly terrain. As I say, reasonably rough or reasonable amount of noise. But so the next step here would be to add another stage that goes through after this is done and fills in, sand below a specified height, and then water below a specified height, and then grass blocks up to a layer of a couple deep, dirt blocks and then grass blocks on top of all that. But that would be a little more complicated because I'm going to have to write something that goes in and, queries the height, the maximum block height at each coordinate, so it knows what to place on top of them and where to place them. And then after that, I could do the Perlin worms algorithm that digs caves in the ground. But we'll see. I've got lots of other projects. I don't know how far I'll take this since it was just a toy to play with.